Hey guys, it's Rodimus Primal. I am back with another video, and today I want to talk to you about something that has been really getting under my skin when it comes down to people who are making properties right now. And that has to do with the fact that all of these franchises that are big franchises and properties and things of that nature, it seems to be that if there's any fan backlash lately, and it probably has to do with the fact that there's YouTube and different social media platforms, but it seems to be that like everybody out there wants to just attack the fans who are already a built-in fan base. You know, for example, Doctor Who. Now, Doctor Who has been around for 50 years. There have been different doctors, there have been different stories being told, and a lot of people stopped liking Doctor Who during Peter Capaldi's run as the Doctor because he seemed to have like this weird personality change. And then, of course, they changed the Master, and now they changed the Doctor to the 13th Doctor, and it's a female, and people are like, I don't particularly care for that, I don't like that. And of course, what happens? Everybody on social media jumps the gun and, you know, goes to the stranglehold against these people. And it's really annoying because people are passionate about it because they've been fans for so long. Some people, they're like, you know what, I like this, I don't mind the changes, but I want to see how the story goes. And that's what I did with Doctor Who. Specifically, with Doctor Who, I decided, okay, I'll give it a chance. I watched the first episode. I liked the first episode. I liked some of the new characters that were added in. You know, a line that Jodie Whittaker said was that, oh, you can still be true to who you are and move forward with, you know, with changes at the same time. And I said, all right, I can buy that. I can buy that. But then the rest of the season just took this nosedive where it was just basically bashing, you know, anything to just basically like tell everybody who is a fan of the show to just go away, and we only want new fans, and we only want a new generation of fans. And the stories were boring. I fell asleep during one or two of the episodes. I had to rewatch them more than once, and I didn't really care for it. You know, and the show ended, and I was just like, thank God it's over. You know, it ended so abruptly and in such a way that I was not looking forward to seeing anything more. You had a Dalek who you know, got microwaved. And I was kind of like, that's kind of cool. They tried to do something different and kind of cool with the Doctor, and I was just like, I don't care for it. But I at least gave it a chance, and I didn't like it. And of course, social media will go all over the place and go, oh, you know, he's just a man, so you know, his opinion doesn't matter. What do you mean my opinion doesn't matter? I've been a fan of this show for how long? My opinion matters just as much as anybody else because I'm a fan. Same thing would go for Ghostbusters. I grew up in the 80s. I watched, the 1984 movie, and it was a great movie. Everybody loved it. We loved the real Ghostbusters cartoon. Of course, you had a toy line. You had Ghostbusters 2. The movie came out, and it was 5 years later. Some people really like it. Some people really don't. I'm kind of in the middle with it. And then, of course, you had this movie that just, went out of its way in 2016 to be literally bashing everybody who was a Ghostbusters fan on the head with everything you loved about Ghostbusters we need to like make fun of and try and completely turn everything on its end. And it was terrible. It was an absolutely terrible movie. My wife said, I want to give that movie a chance. And I said, all right, well, we have to watch Ghostbusters 1 and 2, and then we'll go off and watch it. And we reviewed it on my main channel. And neither of us liked it. It was garbage. It was a hot mess of a movie. It was a bad movie. And, of course, the hoopla about it was the fact that, well, the Ghostbusters were female. I didn't care that they were female. It was a bad movie. And all it was doing the entire time was bashing men. Every single man in that movie was either dumb or stupid or idiotic. In the original Ghostbusters movie, it wasn't necessarily like that. Of course, the Ghostbusters themselves had snarky humor, and it turned out the main villain was a female. Gozer herself came down and, she was all powerful, and of course they ended up defeating her by doing something that they didn't think to do. It was a great movie. But the remake was just like, let's turn it into an action movie. Well, it wasn't necessarily an action movie. It was more like a comedy than anything else. And of course, the movie in 2016 tried to do that, but it did it with bad jokes. It was more so making fun of people who would normally go to see your movie. Because again, this is a built-in franchise. When you have shows like Doctor Who or Ghostbusters, they're a built-in franchise. So that means that there are already existing fans about this. And when you make changes to it that are radically different and then going to turn around and bash people who like it, you're actually killing the franchise by doing so. And I wonder sometimes if they're actually doing that. Another example is Star Wars. Of course, here you have Star Wars, there's a sequel, and you have a director who comes in and says, yeah, I know you're making episode 7 and you're giving me helm with episode 8, but, Rian Johnson comes in and he makes all these changes to Star Wars in a way that really makes Carrie Fisher's character, Princess Leia, makes her look weak. It makes Luke, look like a, murderous Jedi, which the Jedi were never really murderous. And it turns Han Solo, back to his swashbuckling days instead of being the general of an army and trying to help things out and, end up killing him off and end up killing off Luke and turning Leia into, now, of course, we can't even do anything because the actress is dead. So the movie is a bad movie. We don't care about the new characters because the Force Awakens had all this set up for the new characters that, The Last Jedi did not have. Instead, it completely turned it on its end. And Rian Johnson turns around and makes fun of the fans. Oh, well, Empire Strikes Back would have, was completely like this. And everyone's turning around and looking at him going like, no, it wasn't. It wasn't necessarily like that. And Rian Johnson was like, yeah, it was, because you don't know what you're talking about because you don't really care about the franchise that you're taking over. In fact, there's an old video of him saying, I want to make a movie where people walk out and say, I absolutely hated that movie. And, those of us who will love it, will, can make fun of it. He kind of like went back and forth. And I said, this is the guy who is making a Star Wars movie? And he's going to make 3 more of these? No way. And then, of course, we move on to, the MCU. And the MCU has had things where Captain America's ideals, what makes him the first Avenger, is the fact that the Avengers the whole idea behind him that was started because you had somebody who had ideals like Captain America, this greatest generation of World War II, the people who were heroes, that no matter, like, underneath the surface of the, what turned Captain America or Steve Rogers into Captain America, Steve Rogers was a good person. And that is the ideals that the rest of the Avengers should have. Iron Man had to become that. Thor, even though he was much older, it was a prince, had to become that. Even Natasha Romanoff had to become that. Had to look at the ideals of Captain America and want to become the hero. And here, from what I understand, and I have not seen Captain Marvel yet, I will judge it on its own merits, whether or not the movie is good. From what I understand, the movie does a radical change to the source material, which really brings my whole point about this whole video up, is that source material is important. And if you're trying to stick to the source material to try and bring a good adaptation to screen, then you're probably doing pretty well. From what I understand, the creator of Alita Battle Angel, the actual, manga writer, he praised the movie that James Cameron, created and Robert Rodriguez directed. That was a fantastic movie. That movie was awesome. And, the creator of the manga was like, this is awesome. This is like, I couldn't believe I could see a movie like this on screen. And I absolutely loved Alita Battle Angel. It was a great movie. And I'll tell everybody till they're blue in the face, go see that movie. And when it comes out on Blu-ray, go buy it because it was a great movie. But people are going to say, oh, well, it stuck too close to the source material. They should have, changed the character up. Well, the actress is, Peruvian born. So what are you talking about? We love this character and we love the actress that plays her. So please stop with this. And I'm sick and tired of the media and social media and all of these companies coming down and saying, well, you guys are just dinosaurs. Because you guys are the built-in fan base, you need to go away. Well, I'm sorry about it. I'm going to say this. When I was a kid, I was into all of this stuff like robots and comic books and video games and all this stuff, and I got beat up and I got bullied and I got kicked and screamed at by people because I was into that stuff. I wasn't growing up and moving away from past that stuff. And now all at this time, 25, 30 years later, now seeing movies being made and, taking all the franchises that I grew up with and putting them onto the silver screen. And instead what we have is the people who are making these movies are probably the same type of people that bullied me when I was a kid and told me that I shouldn't be fans of this stuff. So now you guys are in charge of it and turning around and saying, you're not allowed to be a fan of it anymore. You need to go away. You're just an old dinosaur. Well, it's not just me. It's just not just me. There are kids who are 10 years old who turn around and look at this stuff and go, I don't like the changes because even I read the comic books and I don't like it. Or I read the novel. And now I understand. Movie adaptations have to make changes to work within the narrative of a film. But the changes that are made should make sense when you're adapting it from the source material and should not change the source material in such a way that they're completely two separate things. I remember, in school being told, don't watch the movie. You have to read the book in order to do the book report because, well, the book report is going to be judged upon whether or not you read the book or not. And I can tell if you didn't read the book and watch the movie because the movie is that different. And that's the thing about film adaptations. But stop turning around and saying to people, you're just a this or this or that, and they come up with this broken record. If you ever listen to them, they use the same 5 or 6 words, which I'm not going to say because I know the algorithm will completely kill, YouTube will completely kill it if I say it. So I'm not going to say it, but I am going to say this: those same things that you keep saying prove that you guys are the ones who are the haters. You guys need to stop. But I want to know what you guys think. What do you think about the way that the media has been treating fans and telling fans that they don't matter and that they're dinosaurs and need to go away? Or do you completely agree? Do you think those of us who really like these properties, that the properties should, no longer be for us anymore and that we need to not enjoy stuff anymore because, they need to make stuff for you? Well, then maybe they need to make different properties, but that's a whole nother discussion. But leave your thoughts in the comment section below. If you like this video, be sure to thumbs up and subscribe. And of course, check out my other videos as well, not only on this channel, but on my main channel as well. And of course, check me out on social media, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And if you want, help support the channel on Patreon. I have many more videos like this coming soon, so stay tuned. And as always, until next time, till all are one.